Howdy y'all, my name's Corey from Travel the Board, and this is my top 100 games of all time. Alright, coming in at number 100 is a true classic. This was the first time I thought I would ever have fun with a word game, and it was one of the games that helped get me into the hobby. Of course, I'm talking about Codenames. Codenames has so many different versions that there is a version of it for everyone. There's Codenames Disney, I think there's Codenames Harry Potter, there's Codenames Duet, there's Codename Pictures. There are so many different versions of it that I find it hard to believe you can't find a single version that you wouldn't enjoy. Codenames for me is that game that's like, I feel like I never want to bring it out, right? Like I never go, hey, I'm bringing this out, let's play Codenames. But the moment it hits the table, I'm laughing and I'm having fun and I'm creating memories. The memories I have with this game, the inside jokes amongst my friends with this game, every time we play it, we just get more and more of them. Codenames is a game that will never leave my collection because it's the type of game that you can break out with anyone. I could play this game with my parents who never played anything more complicated than Clue or anything like that. Like, you know, I could just break this out with anybody and have a great time. And this can be played with so many different kinds of people, and one table is the crazy part. Like, I could play this with my gamer friends and non-gamer friends, and everyone still has a good time. I don't have to pick and choose games that'll work for this group or that group. This one just hits the table and we all have a great time. My wife likes this one, and she deals with me in all my games, but she's not a gamer, but she likes Codenames. So, like, the fact that I can throw it on the table and everyone's gonna have a great time. So, Codenames, that's my number 100. Next. Alright, so I love two-player games, and one of my favorite themes is Sherlock Holmes, and De Vere is an awesome publisher. All of these things come together in a wonderful melting pot that is called Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft. My number 99. Absolutely love this game. I love worker placement. I love the ingenuity of this one, where the idea of like placing a worker, picking up a worker, putting it on a new spot each time. I love the way the movement of the workers in this worker placement game goes. I hadn't seen anything like this up until the point I had played this game. I'm sure there are others, but this was the first time I was introduced to that kind of movement of the workers, and I just love this game. I can play this game with my wife, I can play this game with my friends. It's not overly complicated and it's not overly long. It plays very quickly, and you get the Sherlock Holmes theme comes through pretty well. You get the worker placement aspect comes through very well, and like I just think this game is wonderful. So my number 99, Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft. Coming in at number 98, we have another two-player game. You'll find out over the course of watching this channel and learning more about me, trick-taking is not one of my favorite mechanics. It's not something I tend to hit the table a lot. However, one of the trick-taking games that will always hit my table and I will always have a great time with is The Fox and the Forest. The Fox in the Forest is just so simple and so elegant that you can just pow, 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 knock it out with someone and you had a great time. And you can play over 2 or 3 rounds and just keep going and going and going. It turns into one of those things, if anyone played basketball growing up, it was like first to 11. And then you get to 11, you're like, no, I don't want the game to be over. Now it's first to 15. I don't want it to be over. Now it's first to 21. And you just keep going and going and going because the game's so tight and you're pushing and pulling. And it feels like the end of this game is always so close that it comes down to just a couple of card plays. So The Fox in the Forest for me, the art is so beautiful, and everything about the game, the way it looks, the way it plays, the just elegant is the best way to describe this game. That this is a trick-taking game that I will always have in my collection. Number 98. To say number 97 is a true classic is understating that statement, because number 97 is Pandemic. Even non-gamers have played Pandemic. Your grandma may have played Pandemic because it is so widespread at this point that who has not played Pandemic? And especially with what went on in 2020, I feel like even more people were introduced to this game. It's so popular. There are so many different versions. There are more versions of this than there are of Codenames. There are so many of these. Now, I need to preface this point because I know I can hear you guys typing in the comments. This is a catch-all. Hate me if you want to. This is all Pandemic games. Pandemic Legacy, Iberia, Cthulhu. This is just the Pandemic slot. Whatever your favorite Pandemic is, put it here. For me, it's probably Cthulhu and then the original. I've not played Fall to Rome, which actually makes me sad because I think that's the one I would like the best. So that one is on my list of need to play. But whatever Pandemic is your favorite, just put that right here. This, for the longest time, was my wife's favorite game, so this one hit the table very consistently because she loved to play it. If I went and asked her to play this right now, she would probably say yes, and she typically doesn't want to play games, but she would play Pandemic because she loves it. Me and her played through Pandemic Legacy together, and we really enjoyed that. So this game just has, again, fond memories for me. As you'll see here towards the back end of the list, so much of these games are just fond memories. And Pandemic, I think we all have fond memories of it, and it's a game that no matter how much you're like, I'm done with Pandemic, I don't want to play this, the moment it hits the table, you're not upset about it. Pandemic's a great game, and it's such a mainstay for everybody for a reason. So, number 97, Pandemic. That one fell over. So one of my favorite themes has become nature, and I think it's become one of almost everyone's favorite themes because I feel like over the past 5 to 8 years, nature has really taken over as a theme in board gaming, where now every other game that comes out feels like it's nature themed of some kind, whether it be plants, animals, ecosystem type things, whatever. Nature has really taken over. Well, one of the first ones I played coming into the hobby is my number 96. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is such an intriguing game because the way the sun moves across the board, to me, that was mind-boggling. I didn't realize that you could do something like that in a game when I came into the hobby. To me, games were very stagnant. They were deal with the thing in front of you, add the piece. Deal with the thing in front of you, take away the piece. Everything was very stagnant and just everything was right there in front of you and didn't move really. Photosynthesis took this key part of the game and moved it around the board and completely made the game evolve as you played it. And to me, that was such a new concept that this game just blew my mind so much that it will forever hold a spot for me as innovative. Now, many of you are going, Photosynthesis, innovative? Have you played some of these games? That's just it. It depends on when you came into the hobby. It depends on what games you've seen. And now, do I find Photosynthesis the most innovative game ever now? No, I've seen some insane games that do crazy stuff. But when I first got introduced to Photosynthesis, my mind was blown. So, it sticks around for me. Will it be on the list next year? Who knows? It's hanging on at 96, but Photosynthesis. Here we go. Ooh, if I just push the whole table on that one. When you push the box so hard, the table runs from you. At number 95 comes another, what I call, classic cooperative game. Most people, when they're trying to get Pandemic to hit the table, even though I just talked about it, this is actually the one I'm typically going, we could play Pandemic. Or we could play Flashpoint Fire Rescue. This is literally Fireman Simulator. Literally, the building's on fire, you're trying to run in and save people, and the funniest part of every time you play this game, you can play this game 100 times and you're still going to think it's funny every time, is the moment you start flipping over the people tokens and you see the animals, the dog or the cat, you immediately turn into, sacrifice all the people, we have to save the cat. Everyone just wants to save the animals, and they will sacrifice as many people as it takes. They will throw the game if it means saving the dog. It is so funny every time, because without a word being spoken, we all are in lockstep agreement in our mind. We're saving the cat, right? Yeah, we're saving the cat. Everyone knows it. And it's one of my favorite parts of the game every time. So, Flashpoint for me, even though I would love to play Pandemic, and they don't play the same, so I'm not comparing them because they play the same, but they give you the same feeling of the cooperative level with the same, weight of game, where, typically people are saying, let's play Pandemic, I'm like, or we could play Flashpoint. So, that's why I find number 95, Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Let's see if I can spin this one. At number 94, we had my first introduction to secret knowledge games. No matter what that means, whether it's partial knowledge for some players, full secrets for others, this was the first time that I had ever played a game, especially cooperatively, where you could only give partial information. You couldn't just flat out say what was happening. And I'm talking about the Spiel winner from a long time ago, Hanabi. Hanabi is a fantastic game. You get your hands of cards, and then everyone starts cheating. Like, this is my favorite part about this game, is everyone just immediately starts cheating, but we all agree, like, that cheat wasn't too bad. Because, like, you can only give certain information, and you're not supposed to give anything away. But the moment people start saying or doing things, all of a sudden you're going, and you, and like, you're giving all the hints away that you possibly can without giving the hints away. And we're all like, where's that line of cheating? But I'm like, I don't care. I'm having a great time, and I'm literally in tears. I'm laughing so hard. This game is a nice combination of hard, fun, and just dumb. Like, it's just dumb. Like, we sit here and we do the stupidest things playing this game. It always ends in laughter, and it always ends in people going, so close. Like, you'll get down to, like, the last two cards, and you're like, we got this, and then you don't have this. It's so close every time. And, like, it creates so many stand up on the table, oh my god, cheering moments. Like, this is one of those games that just, you want to play again. The moment you're done, you're like, all right, we're playing again, right? And like, you look away, and a game that's supposed to take 20 minutes, you've played for 3 hours because you just keep playing it over and over and over. Hanabi is such a fun game that I find it, even if you're done with this game, because there's so many of these games I keep talking about that are classics, right? Because this one is becoming a classic at this point, because it won the Spiel so many years ago. That there's so many of them that people will say, I'm done with the game, there's better games. I don't see how you could get this game to the table and be like, no, I didn't have fun. No, you had fun. If you didn't have fun, it was probably either your fault or someone at the table's fault. I don't think it was the game's fault. This game is just pure fun. And that's why I don't know if it'll ever leave my top 100. Like, it's sitting here at number 94. It's hanging on by a thread, but like, this is that game, I haven't played it in over a year, but the next time it hits the table, I might go, you know, it probably needs to go higher. That's how a lot of these games are, is like, once you replay it again and you recapture that fun memory, especially these older games that some people haven't played in 3, 4, 5 years, the moment you play it again, you're like, why did I ever stop playing this? That's Hanabi for me. So, that's my number 94. I had to think about it. Alright, so when I was talking about Fox in the Forest just a few minutes ago, I told you I wasn't a huge fan of trick-taking games. Well, you're about to get my second trick-taking game in the same 10 here. But not just that, watch me be horribly wrong. I'll get into like the 40s and you guys will be like, Corey, you lied. I think this is my last trick-taking game in my top 100. I think it is, until I'm horribly wrong at some point in the future. But my number 93 is Jekyll and Hyde, or Jekyll versus Hyde. This trick-taking game captured me when I found out that you were sometimes trying to win, and sometimes you weren't. The fact that the idea of the game is that there's a central point in the middle where Jekyll's trying to get it one way, Hyde's trying to get it the other way, but you don't want it to go too far one way. Like, the push and pull of this game is what really got me, because it's like every single turn, every time you go to play a card, you have to reevaluate. Do I want to win this one? Do I want to lose this one? What does my opponent want to do? It's not just a normal trick-taking game where you're trying to win every single hand. And this one, you're like, I want to lose this one, and they want to win this one. Agreed? Cool. I want to lose this one, and you want to lose this one. Let's see who can play worse. Like, I love things like that. So the push and pull of this one really hooked me. That's why, and again, don't hate me in the 30s, 40s, 20s, whatever, when I inevitably lied to you. But off the top of my head, this is my favorite trick-taking game. Number 93, Jekyll versus Hyde. All right, I'm going to land the spin this time. I mean, technically it went off screen, but it also kind of shattered and broke apart. So, hey, I got it. Okay. We'll call it a win. Do it again. That was better. All right, so number 92 is a little bit controversial. And they're like, Corey, what do you mean by controversial game? What game is controversial? This game gets a lot of hate, primarily because of the name, and I understand, you're not wrong, they definitely could have came up with a better name, because my number 92 is literally called The Game. Now, first off, I want to say there are two versions of this game that just come in different boxes. They're the same. One of them has this like coral, like multicolored look on it. I have the very dark, like skull one, and I'm actually really proud because this is the rarer one, and I'm like, I have the cool one. Like, to me, this is the cool one. I'm like, I have the cool one. But this game, it's very simple. 4 decks, you're counting up to 100, you're counting down to 100. Partial information, you can't speak. But this is another one of those games that everyone's staring at each other and cheating, but like, it's like, like, what level of cheating's okay? Like, you're supposed to put down a card at a certain time, but you can't tell everyone around the table when you're putting it down. So everyone's looking at each other, literally like one of those like crime scene boss shows where it's like, who's going to make the first move? Who's going to make the first move? And we're all just staring around each other over our cards. And all of a sudden someone goes, and then someone finally plays it. And someone across the table goes, I had a better one. And you're like, you should have played it. It's so funny. It's another one of those, the moment someone screws it up, everyone at the table just sighs at the same time. And then you spend the next like 5 minutes going, why did you not do this? But like you're laughing about it. You're not actually attacking someone. You're laughing about it. If you haven't tried this game because of the horrible name, The Game, look over that fact. It's a very enjoyable game. It's just cards and numbers with partial secret information. I really enjoy it. Like I love this game. Like it holds a place in my heart. It's also one of the first, I think, 20 games I ever bought. So this one definitely holds a little special hole in my heart that it feels. But for many of you, you're going to be like, Corey, you've got too much attachment to this game. I'm going to be like, you know, I can't argue, but I think we all have those games like this, and that's how this one is for me. So, number 92, The Game. The cooler one. I have the much cooler one. So, I promise you, in future lists further down this line, you will see some newer games. So far, every game you've seen is at least a little bit more than a couple years old. Like, most of them have been at least 5+ years old. I think the newest one is probably Jekyll versus Hyde. The rest of them are fairly got some age on them. And that's going to continue with number 91. It is also a classic of classics. I also have the first edition, but my friend Lucas, who you would recognize from my Gen Con vlogs, he has everything that this game has ever came out with. So I keep this first edition as just like a nice little, just holy grail in my collection. And when we play the game, we actually play his copy because he has everything. But I'm talking about the classic monster battle game, King of Tokyo. King of Tokyo, first off, I have to say, has one of the most, not the most anymore, there's actually some that's beat it, one of the most necessary expansions in history of gaming, the power-up expansion. However, the base game is still enjoyable, but the base game is something that I only play with brand new gamers, or someone like your parents or your significant other who's not into gaming, or even children. Like, the base game is rudimentary, but it's very, very good. But the moment you add the power-up expansion, this game goes to a whole new level. This game turns into a gamer's game. And I really enjoy it. Finding all the combinations with the cards and just beating up on people. Going into Tokyo and just smacking everybody around. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I had a lot of health. In one round, that went away real fast. Or when you go in Tokyo and people just ignore you and you're like, I'll take points? Sure. Like, I really enjoy the game. I think most people do. It's a classic. One of the classic of classics. It has turned into an evergreen at this point. Such a welcoming game as well. Because so many people don't like some of the welcoming games. Like, you know, Catan. Like, I know that's, you know, got a stigma to it at this point. But, like, that's one of the welcoming games. Ticket to Ride. A lot of games like that are boring for some folks. So if you want someone to come into the gaming hobby who wants to smash and fight and blah, that's King of Tokyo. You lay it out there, you get the big clunky dice, and you beat the crap out of each other. That's King of Tokyo. It's really enjoyable. That's my number 91. All right, that's 10 down, just 90 to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Let me know what some of your favorite games are. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you get notified when my next 90 games get posted on here and all the other videos. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!